Hello, everyone. This is a panel to discuss the TV show Arrow, now on the CW. On this panel today, I'm your host, Christopher Davis. This is Eric Skropitz, and this is Sydney Lawson. Alright, so I feel like we all kind of have conflicting opinions about this show.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, so first of all, how about we all just go around? Why did you watch the show Arrow in the first place? What got you into it? We can start with Eric and just go around to Sydney.
I think the biggest thing for me was just, it's a lot like Batman with the vigilante, gritty style. That's what I really liked about it. I just thought, the idea of him being trapped on the island, then coming back and taking people out that were on the list.
Killed a lot of people.
He killed a lot of people. Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
I just thought I really liked that gritty action, the vengeance kind of idea. It was a lot like Batman, but a lot more gritty, and that's, I think, one reason I really liked it.
Okay. Yeah, so pretty much, it was last summer, probably a year from now. I was just going through Netflix, and I'm already kind of big with superhero stuff, so I was just like, I had heard rumors of, the Arrow show. I started watching it, and I mean, yeah, like Eric said, a lot of action. The premise seemed interesting enough, and, next thing I knew, I was 3 seasons in, and I was like, this is taking over my life. Sydney?
Mm-hmm. I guess I'm not, mine's a little different, because I'm not as into, the hero, superstar, or superhero movies type. I'm more into, drama, humor, so I guess this was kind of something where it was I wanted to binge watch a series, and I'd heard about Arrow from a friend of mine, and so I started watching it, and I was like, oh, this is cool, and it was interesting enough that I just kept watching it, so I guess I kind of fell into it, and then it just never lost its appeal for me.
Okay. Alright, so, as those of you either you know or you don't know, Arrow's going through a bit of a controversy. They recently in this season, and spoilers if you aren't caught up with season 4 or you care about
Don't listen.
Arrow's story, don't listen. They killed off Laurel Lance, who is the superheroine, the Black Canary. And I go online, and I hang out on Reddit a little bit and look at people's reactions, and when it was leaked before they even killed her that she was going to be the one who was going to die. And the internet kind of exploded. People were really upset. A lot of people were swearing off the show. Arrow the ratings have been decreasing for a while, but I think currently Arrow's ratings are half of what they were during season 1. I think it may have been 4 million to 2. Now it's 2 million.
I know that.
It's split. Now Arrow it's currently finishing up season 4. I think the next season finale comes on tonight actually, but they have been renewed for season 5, so they've kind of got, I think, 1 season to get their act together.
Yeah.
Unless they just want to end the show after 5 seasons, which
they did say that they were planning.
That originally they were going to. We'll get to that later. But
I think though, not to interrupt you, Chris, I'm sorry, but I think one of the biggest things, especially with the ratings, I'm a big comic book guy, and I know that all the shows aren't based off comic books, but the Black Canary and Green Arrow are literally yin and yang. They are really, the driving force behind the comics. There's a lot of interaction between them, and killing off a character like that's so prevalent in your origin story, I think.
In Green Arrow comics in general. Yeah. I mean, she's
Yeah.
literally going back 30 years at least.
Yeah.
Black Canary and Green Arrow were a thing.
Yeah.
Wait, who's Sarah then?
White Canary. Well, she was the original Canary.
In the show. Sarah was actually made up from... Her character was made up for the show.
Yeah.
And that's another thing these TV shows do, is that they usually make up a lot of their own stuff.
And I understand that, but taking such a major...
Yeah.
That's a major FU to the comics, in my personal opinion, which is your basis.
Yeah, I mean, it was just such a strange choice, because in a lot of shows where they kill off people, usually they'll kill off older mentor characters. In season 2 they killed his mom, but that wasn't as big of a deal, I don't think, because it's sort of like
it was more of a driving force.
It was more of a driving force for him, and like we had kind of like, as far as his mom, like she went to prison after season 1, and then she got out, so I can see them being like, we don't really know what to do with her.
Exactly.
But like,
rather than drag her on through seasons and just everyone get annoyed with her, they're like, let's use it to drive the plot forward, which I feel like they lost a lot coming in to season 3 and then eventually season 4.
Yeah. So yeah, part of the reason that people are really upset is because like Oliver and Laurel were like together forever in the comics. Like we're talking about like Superman, Lois Lane.
Yeah. They were actually together, not just like
they got married.
Together.
Yeah,
they were married for a while.
Okay.
I think they got divorced, but like they'll mess around with it a little bit.
Yeah,
but usually in some form they're together.
But it's that dynamic relationship that like makes the character seem human. Like Batman and Catwoman kind of a thing, but like more serious.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
yeah. I mean it was just a strange choice. And to get into the next part of this, in the Arrow show, they've kind of come up with a lot of their own characters specific for that show. Like Diggle, Felicity. Those were the two biggest characters they made like for that show. Like Roy's from the comics. His like
really?
Thea is like kind of she was a character called like I think Mia Dearden.
Yeah.
And she wasn't his sister in the comic, but they made her a sister in the show, probably just to make it
more relatable, I think.
More relatable.
Be like that brother-sister interaction, like, oh, you've been gone for so long. Like, I felt like, well, the CW loves to play to, like, that preteen idea, I think, so.
Yeah, I mean, I hate to say it, you come expect, if a show's on the CW, like, there's going to be, like, teeny bopper romance. And, like, to an extent, I can deal with that, but getting to another part, the character of Felicity Smoke, she kind of was, when she was put on the show, she was meant to be an extra for literally like one episode, but apparently like they liked her enough, they made her like recurring in the first season.
Really?
And then she was bumped up to main cast member season 2 because people just like Felicity. And even in the beginning, like I like Felicity fine.
Apparently her and Stephen Amell had like, not like, you know what I mean, but like they had good chemistry on stage.
They just like enjoyed each other.
Yeah.
I thought her and Barry were gonna get together. Like
I totally thought that. Thing. Yeah, I thought that was too. But I don't know. I don't know. Sometimes I'm like, I don't know why they go certain directions with things.
Is it just to throw us off?
Yeah,
and then
probably.
piss us off?
Yeah,
something like that. But yeah, pretty much. So since Felicity was in the show, people have wanted Felicity to be with Oliver, and a lot of these people are people who just got on the show, watch it for what it was. Yeah. They just enjoy the chemistry between Stephen Amell and Felicity's Emily Ricard, is that her name?
Emily Bennett.
Emily, yeah, something like that. I know her first name's Emily, but anyway, there are people who really wanted them together. Like, there are, like, I have a Tumblr too, and I've seen, like, there are Tumblr feeds with just Oliver and Felicity forever, just, like, gifts, just, it, like, people take it to, like, a level where it's almost creepy.
My favorite thing is the people that get on Stephen Amell's Facebook and ask him when he has pictures with his wife and ask him if Felicity knows that he's cheating on her. He's like, dude, it's a show, calm down.
Yeah.
That's my favorite.
Yeah. Stephen Amell, he's very active. He runs his own Facebook page, which a lot of celebrities don't do. So when people like post mean comments, he'll literally respond. Like, people will be like, dude, your show freaking sucks, and he'll be like, alright, don't watch it. Like, he literally he's
pretty funny. Yeah,
but not to get off topic. So you have a camp who really want Oliver and Felicity to be together, and the writers kind of got wind of this. So around season 2, they started teasing it a little bit, where like,
absolutely.
Well, Oliver, he'd be like on the arm bar, right, and Felicity would be like looking at him and just being like, you know, doing one of those, and she would always have they'd be like innuendos and sexual tension and whatnot.
Absolutely.
And then by season 3,
well, you also have to look at the thing with Slade Wilson. I don't mean to cut you off on in season 3, but thing with Slade Wilson where he held her, you know, and he was like gonna kill her. Yeah. Remember? And then she stabs him with the Mirakuru antidote. You know what I mean?
They were teasing stuff back in season 2. Like, but season 3, like, the Oliver Felicity drama became like tenfold Olicity.
It was stupid
because in season 3 is when the show started going down, and you had the premiere for that season. They went on a date, and then
they got blown up.
Shenanigans happened, and they're like, "Oh, maybe this won't work." And then they introduced a character named Ray to date Felicity, and Oliver was like jealous, and then they eventually broke up, and then Oliver and Felicity got together at the end of season 3, and then season 4 they're together for a while, and then I don't even want to get into like him with like Oliver had like a kid someplace else, and it gets really soap opera-y, and Felicity just like dumps him, and it's just I think I liked Felicity like through season 2, but once they started focusing so much on the relationship drama, I was like, I don't like this as much. Like, beginning it was like cute and fun, like, oh, you know, she has a crush on him, you know, oh, that's all good, but then it started being like, it started taking over the show.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then as someone who started the show not for the action, I kind of like that. I don't mind that.
That's fair.
Yeah, no, and I mean, that's like, it's a dynamic in the show, but it's like, it's overplaying anything, you know what I mean? It's like Michael Bay movies, you overplay explosions, but you know what I mean? It's just like, you can't keep going to the well, you know what I mean? And I felt like that's what they were doing.
And this whole like Olicity thing, I think it got like Laurel's character in trouble, and girl plays her Katie Cassidy, that's her name, like she was very, very prominent in those early scenes, and like they had that love triangle with like Oliver, Laurel, and Tommy, and like that was a big deal. And then Tommy died, and then you know Laurel's just kind of doing her thing, hanging out with her dad. And they really, and like
the alcoholic thing, that was really
weird.
She
was like,
I don't know what, I think they just didn't know what to do with the character for a while.
They're like so mean. Like I feel like they were honestly just like, even before they killed Laura's character off, they were just so mean to her. Like she went through like so much stuff. Like her and Thea literally got like shit on more than anyone else in the show.
That's true. Probably almost as much as Oliver. Yeah, he was trapped on an island for 5 years.
And Felicity's just doing her thing in the cave, just, you know, hey, everybody loves me. Like it was just, I feel like the writers almost like sabotaged her. And then you got to season 4, once like Oliver and Felicity were together, like Laurel was almost like a background character. Like she would show up for like the missions, be like, all right guys, we're gonna go fight Damien Dark, all right, let's go. Well, how about we do this? And like I think someone like literally looked at how many lines she had, and like the lines she had in like later seasons compared to like earlier, it's like what happened. So it's almost like the character, like they wanted someone for like that love interest role, and I don't know what goes on with like the writers or like whatever, but I feel like they honestly like were just really trying to push Laurel out until they finally killed her, and like Felicity is just
what if
the new it person.
I don't know much about like behind the scenes what goes on, but what if like the actress who plays Laurel, I'm not sure what her name is, but what if like she was just trying to distance herself from the series?
That's also possible.
That could be another.
You know, earlier we were actually blaming the writers, but that could be either way.
Mark Guggenheim. People
that's
like
a great name.
Yeah, it is a funny name, but a lot of people blame. He's a showrunner for AR right now, and I think he started with season 3. So like, a lot of people blame him almost more than like, because I really don't like to blame actors or actresses, because I feel like at the end of the day, like you know, they go in and that's their job, and I think that they're pulling certain stuff, and except for like probably like Steve, since he's the lead.
The main character,
yeah. I feel like a lot of the actors are just kind of told what to do. So you almost do kind of have to look at like, all right, well, who's writing it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that. Okay, where was I going with this? Sorry. You see, Mark Guggenheim. A lot of people don't like him, and they think that he's pandering to the Tumblr Olicity crowd over like people who got into the show for other reasons.
But you got to look at that like. Shows get convoluted, you know what I mean? Because they take on public opinion a lot.
Yeah.
Well, that's like, I'm a big Game of Thrones fan too, and I think there was some stuff about, they had this like really like intense rape scene, and they were just like, I think they were just trying to drive a dynamic of a character, but people didn't like it, and you also have to take into account, this is like, you know, like medieval Europe pretty much, so like women were treated poorly, obviously, that's history, and I think they were just like, you know, putting that into the story, and people got really upset, and the writers are like, well, too bad, you know, if you don't like it, don't watch the show.
Oh.
Yeah.
I can respect that.
Yeah.
I feel like as a writer, like, you kind of have to you need to have a vision for the show and just
Exactly.
do your own thing, and just, I hate to say it, you have to ignore, like, the
you
fans.
do. And it's like, if your show's already popular, why do you need to pander to more people?
Yeah. It's
Screw
just, it's strange. So, on to a few other things, at least me personally, where I feel like the show got weaker. The flashbacks after season 2, season 3 is in China, and then season 4, he's just, doing magical stuff on the island with, is the woman Russian that he's with? I forget. The one he's kind of hanging out with? I forget. But he's just, I don't know, like, earlier seasons of flashbacks were, like, a lot more relevant.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Season 1, he was just, like, he just wanted to get off.
Yeah.
So you're almost watching, like, well, why is he on this island? Like, it was more of questions, like, why he was there, and how do you think he's going to get off, and that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then Season 2 was probably the best, because they built up his relationship with Slade, and, like, all this stuff.
Yeah, and he went from, like, whiny to, like, training hard.
To training hard and all that stuff. And then when Slade finally shows up in, like, present time, you're like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, fuck. Like, I'm swearing a lot, but, like, he's like, the relationship between those two made sense, because Slade was around since season 1.
Yeah.
So the villain-hero connection was very personal.
Yeah.
This guy, like, he was like, I hate Oliver. I'm just going to ruin his life and do everything
He stabbed the man in the
possible.
eye. So.
Yeah. Yeah!
I'd kind of be upset, too.
Yeah. But when you got to season 3, and it was like, the plot in China was just kind of like a side thing, and what present time was like, what, League of Assassins stuff, and they tried.
It still kind of made sense, though.
Yeah,
a little
still
bit.
At least was
Still
like,
tied
okay.
It's still tied in a little bit, okay. But then season 4, the big connection they have now is that, like, he saw the stuff that, like, the villain is Damien Dark, who, like, has magic powers, and the thing is, like, Oliver's seen another guy with, like, the same magic powers, like, on the island. But my problem with that is that, like, they waited so long to, like, make that reveal of, like, all this magic stuff to, like, towards the end of the season. Like, I stopped caring about the flashbacks, like, episode, like, 5, Like, there needed to be a connection between the flashbacks and, like, present day and, like, a mystery to follow throughout the season.
See, I also think that's a thing, like, I think they, like, wanted to go with, like, this magic thing, but they didn't know how to get the show to that point, so they're like, oh, let's just take it back to the island, because that's where everything started. And I feel like I said earlier, you're going to the well too many times. Like, you're reusing something that was good, and now you're just butchering it and, trying to present it in a different way.
I feel like the whole premise of the show, though, is that we're doing real-time 5 years, but we're also going back and going through the island at the same pace that we're in present day.
Yeah, like a year
So,
at a
like,
time.
they're on what?
Yeah, that makes
They're
sense.
on year 4 on the island now, so there's going to be a whole next season is going to be his last year on the island.
That makes
probably.
sense, yeah.
They can't just abandon that.
That last year better be fucking, like, just crazy.
I want to know what happens that last year.
Yeah, another thing, in season 4, like, this is his 4th year, like, trapped. He gets, like, a haircut and a shave, so he looks, like, normal in the flashbacks, but, like, at the very beginning of the pilot, like, he had, like, a beard and was, like, hairy and all this stuff. So, like, I wonder how they're gonna, like, explain that, like, could you look like a caveman in, like, a year's time if you just didn't shave?
Probably.
I don't know, like, it was just strange.
I don't know, maybe.
Yeah, but, yeah, Eric, they ditched remember his flashback wig that he had?
Yeah.
They shaved it off in the beginning of, season 4, like, in the flashback, like, time.
He needs the goatee from the comics.
Yeah.
That's the best.
I miss the flashback wig, because he just looks so, like, goofy and just stupid. And it's just, like, the parallel between, like, him now as a vigilante and, like, him back then is just, like, I don't know. I thought it was funny. But, another thing I just want to bring up before we move on, I believe the writers also kind of changed the tone of the show a little bit between season 2 and 3, because originally when Arrow came out, they're like, alright, this is going to be a gritty, vigilante show, no superpowers, which is why, like, even, like, Laurel, how, like, in the comics, her, like, when she does, like, the canary cry, like, the scream, like, in the comics, she has, like, powers, like, it's, like, a natural thing, but in the show, they gave her, like, a collar that does it for her, like, they were trying to make it, like, okay, can we make this, like, realistic?
Yeah.
Yet there's magic.
Yeah.
But now, well, I was going to say that they eventually decided they were going to do a spin-off of Arrow called The Flash, and I watched Flash, which Flash is really good. Just throwing that out there. Flash, everybody has powers.
Which makes sense.
Because in that show, an accident goes off. Barry Allen, who's a Flash, he gets powers, and all these random people in the city get powers, and that's where like the bad guys come from.
Which makes sense. You have an even playing field.
Yeah. So since these shows take place in the same universe, they're like, oh shit, well, I guess people could technically have powers in Arrow too. So it kind of like messed around with, I think it kind of messed around with their original like vision. Like, I guess people do have powers in this universe. Yeah.
But that's like Batman, Superman too. You know, we were talking about this before we started shooting. That would be like if Superman just flew into Gotham and just cleaned up crime in a day. It would completely just destroy Batman's character, which is it's doing with Arrow. You know what I mean? So it's like it would just like the point of Batman is the fact that he's mortal and he can die. You know what I mean? Like if he messed up, he would die. And where Superman gets shot 50 times in the head and he's good. You know, so it's just like it completely destroys the premise of your other show.
Yeah.
That's fair. No, that's a fair statement. Because I mean, like powers work like well in the Flash because everybody has powers, and even like the two shows in general, like Arrow's always doing stuff at night, Flash like during the day. It's supposed to be like this night day like dynamic between them. So like when a lot of like power stuff bleeds into Arrow, I feel like it kind of just like takes away a bit of the plausibility. I think, which I think is like also like hurting it. Okay, I think we're going to take a break and do an intermission. Just because, we're going to take a break. We'll be right back after these messages. Alright, well, welcome back. This is the second half of our Arrow discussion. The last half we pretty much talked about like what we didn't like about the show, and I think now we kind of want to get into the various characters besides Laurel and Felicity. Alright, so first, Stephen Amell, the guy who plays Oliver Queen. What do you guys' like thoughts or opinions on him? Either as a person or as an actor.
I feel like I love the actor. From what I've seen of him, I love him. But the character, I feel like he's just so. I just can't stand like he's all so strong and tough and has to be. He can't have any cracks all the time. And I feel like that is his character dynamic. That's like who he is. But it gets annoying after a while.
This is all my fault. It's my responsibility.
Yeah.
It's
that just gets to be too much.
Yeah, I mean, I do think that does fit part of the show, but I like the whole thing. They always mention like Oliver like blaming himself. He has been doing that from season 1, and I do think he needs to move away from like the angst and just be like, all right, well, I'm just gonna, I don't know. He needs to move away from like blaming himself for stuff. He's like, okay, this person's responsible. I'm gonna get rid of them at all costs.
Yeah, like duty justice.
You know what I mean?
He needs character arc.
Yeah.
And right now he's just the same. He's obstinate.
Yeah.
No, I agree. I feel like he's been stagnant since season 1, and you know, I mean, like I think like the emotion he had against like Slade, like they need to. I mean, we'll save this for later when we talk about it, but like they need to bring that back because he needs, like you said, he needs that arch, that character development to, you know, this is where he started, this is where he finishes. Like he's not dynamic.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think, you know, he's a decent actor, but like I just feel like the way that he's portrayed on the show is just like you said, like no cracks. Like he just acts like almost inhuman sometimes, and it's kind of weird.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I mean, I think that, like, Stephen Amell's a person. I respect him only because he runs his own Facebook page, and, like, again, most actors, like, don't do that. And he does philanthropy for, like, cancer and stuff. Yeah, he'll do a lot of just interesting stuff on there. He, like, that WWE thing with him was so weird.
Don't
he
get
got,
started
like,
on that.
he got, like, a rivalry with, like,
a dude named Stardust.
Yeah, like a pro wrestler, and they had like an internet feud, and one day he just runs into the ring and
like,
has
choke
like
slams him.
Yeah, and he was like in like a wrestling match, and
it was weird.
What?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh,
I'll show you later. It's funny. It was
interesting, to say the least. I was just
so confused.
If you have an issue with a dude named Stardust, just you should reevaluate.
We'll
that
tell you
straight into the ring on Stardust.
Yeah, and like choke slammed him because he like pushed him. He was like, "You insult my manhood," something like that. And I was just like, "Come on, man."
Sydney, it's kind of funny. But yeah. So I think we're saying that like I think Stephen Amell's okay.
Mm-hmm.
He's not the best actor ever. I think he's a decent person.
Yeah.
But I think, but like we said with the character of Oliver, I think that they need to like develop him more and not give him the same beats. Something happened. This is my fault. You know, I don't deserve to be happy. And it's like, dude, you gotta like, either you're gonna try to like have it all and have like be a vigilante and have a family life, or you're just gonna be a lone wolf like forever.
I feel like that's
you gotta
what separated the Green Arrow from Batman is the fact that the Green Arrow actually kind of like relatively lived a normal life.
Yeah.
Where like Batman was like, I'm gonna run the company and
be alone forever.
and hide in the Batcave
And hang out with Alfred.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was in the comics, was he ever just called Arrow?
No, they start. So. I think for the show they started that. I believe
same thing with Star City.
Yeah, I believe what the writer said is that they wanted to start him at a place and have him eventually become Green Arrow. Which the thing about this season that he's finally calling himself like Green Arrow. So I think that they were trying to do more of a like coming into the role story, but like with like spinoffs and whatnot. Like you watch the Flash, he's the Flash from
day one.
Day one, like he gets his powers. He's like, boom, I'm saving people. I'm fighting bad guys. I got speed. Like that's like his thing. So I think that I think that the original vision, like I said before, the original vision for Arrow got a little bit stranger. Now. So as far as like the secondary characters go, Diggle.
I like Diggle.
I think he's fine.
I think he's cool.
He pretty much fills the like best black friend role, and I mean he's there to be the guy who kind of has his head on straight. He's like, don't kill people, Oliver. Oliver, no, don't do that.
Coming from the guy who literally kills people.
Yeah.
I mean.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, I think Diggle's fine. I mean, even in this recent season, they give him, like, the subplot with his brother, like, being evil. It's fine. I mean, I don't think... It wasn't my favorite thing, but it didn't bother me all that much. Which, you gotta catch up, because what happened with him and his brother is kind of, like, it's kind of funny.
See, like, though, like, that dynamic... That's what I mean. Like, that dynamic with his character, like, bringing his brother back after... Didn't Deadshot kill him, supposedly? But, like, they bring people back from the dead and stuff, and it's just like...
They do that a lot.
He stayed dead, and they should have did something different.
With Diggle?
Yeah, they already threatened his family so many times. It's like, you can't do that either. So they should have done something with him other than bringing his brother back from the dead and him being evil, and, like, that's just, like...
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't, as far as, like, stuff with Arrow I didn't like, it wasn't the worst thing for me.
Yeah.
What about Thea? She's changed quite a bit from the beginning, where she went from like the like problem sister to like being a vigilante. I do think with the like whole bloodlust thing, it kind of like the whole League of Assassins plot is like we've known about the League for like since season 2, and I think that at least finally they're at least wrapping that part up with like they destroyed the League in the middle of the season, because like the thing about the League is that if you overuse them too much, I feel like it does get boring. Like they're good as like a driving force around other stuff, if that makes sense.
It's a different show when you have the League of Assassins on it as one of the main forces on it. It just becomes different.
All I gotta say is Ra's al Ghul was a fat old man, which was just weird in my personal opinion. Like, I don't know. I felt like he should have been like
Liam Neeson.
Yeah,
like in the Batman movie.
Exactly. Like at least tough. Like he looked like he was just like an old man. Like.
Yeah, I mean,
he seemed pretty tough to me.
Yeah, he seemed like, I don't know, like farmhand tough almost. Like.
Okay. All right. Well, we're sorry for that awkward intermission. My roommate came in from drinking on the porch, so we have to cut that. Yeah, we have to cut that a little bit short, but so I think we were talking about Thea and the League of Assassins, and I guess my closing statement about Thea would be that like I feel like her character also kind of gets dragged through the mud, and she just has to deal with a bunch of stuff, and I feel like if you just let like the actress just do more stuff, like if she, I don't know, like isn't she like in this season, Sydney, doesn't she have like a thing with like the guy helping Ron Oliver's like campaign? Isn't that like...
Yes, she does.
Yeah, and it's just kind of like, I don't know. I feel like you could just have, like, I don't know.
I can agree with that. I mean, one, can we please get her a shirt that fits and doesn't just show her navel? I swear, does she actually own a full shirt?
Probably not.
Better question. But anyway,
I gotta get in her
Why do
instant
you
sec.
want that, though?
Dude, that's true. That's mostly because she's like as big as round as that tripod, and that's kind of terrifying to be. Like, I think the biggest thing is just like, I agree. Like, wasn't she like addicted to drugs and crap too?
Yeah,
like,
yeah. It's just,
just
that
like,
if you just had her be more badass, it does not like she's fought. I think she's fought Malcolm Merlyn like multiple times this season, and like she gets her ass kicked like all the time, and it's just like, have Thea like just go out, like have her episode where she like goes out like on her own and like save the day or something like that. Like I feel like you could do more besides like just drag through the mud. Oh, she has a thing with this guy. Oh, it's not working out. You know, like I don't know.
Because it was the same thing like with the DJ guy.
Oh yeah, the
Remember
DJ?
that?
Dude, that was trippy.
Yeah, and then he like tried to kill her.
When she slept with the DJ, and then he tried to kill her after, I was just like...
But like I feel like that's just like, I don't know, that's the only thing they do with her character. Like the same thing with Laurel. It's
They
the
give
only
her a guide.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the only thing they do with the character. It's like you gotta develop the character.
I feel like she got pretty strong though, and her
true.
character was developed.
Laura was a little bit better as they went on.
When her father taught her, and she became a lot better at fighting. Like I feel like she's grown quite a bit.
When she hung out with the boxer for 2 episodes.
Well, that was Laurel.
And became a
yeah,
vigilante. That was another thing is that like...
Thea.
Well, yeah. If you're still talking about Thea, then
yeah, I think Sydney.
Her hanging out with her father, that was fine for her to come back.
I was okay with that.
But I was just saying, like with Laurel, like she hangs out with the boxer guy for a few episodes, and then she's all fighting crime, and it's like, I wish I could do that. Like if I could train in a boxing ring,
training montage, man.
for like a couple days and come back and just be a badass, like I'd totally do it.
Wait, you mean that can't happen?
I mean, it can't. But yeah, no. But I just give her more to do besides hanging out with guys and her getting beat up all the time. And she also, Willa Holland, like her actress, like she posts like nudes on Instagram like every once in a while. It's funny. I think she has a boyfriend. I feel like her and her boyfriend just get like cross-faded out, and she'll post nudes because she'll put them up and then she'll take them down like a day later, and it's weird. Following actors is weird sometimes.
Yes, it is. I can agree with that.
Very, very, very strange. So, segue, next character, Malcolm Merlyn, he needs to die. Like, at first he was like a straight up villain, and then like, season 2 he was around like a little bit, like creeping around, and then season 3 he killed Sarah, but then he's still hanging with the good guys. And then season 4 he's with the good guys, and then he eventually loses the league, and now he's hanging out with the bad guys. And it's just like Malcolm Merlyn, like not the actor, but like him as a character, he's such a terrible person. Why has no one tried to kill him?
I don't know.
Like I never understood. Like if it was me, I literally would kill him at the first chance I had. I'd be like, yeah, Malcolm, I'll be your friend. And then I'll literally just shoot him in the face and kill him.
I think they should have used, like, wasn't Black Canary's whole thing, like, to go out and avenge her sister?
Yeah. No.
And then they're just gonna, like, hang out and, like, I don't know. I
Well,
just didn't understand that.
They brought her back. They brought Sarah back at the beginning, and, like, since Malcolm Merlyn was in charge of the league, Laurel was kind of like, yo, Malcolm, revive my sister. And then Malcolm's all like, the pit has never been used for something like this before. I'm trying to do their voices. And then they bring her back, and I guess everybody's cool with Malcolm, but now he's evil again, where he's working with the bad guys, and it's just like...
I feel like they weren't cool with him, they just couldn't morally kill him because he wasn't doing anything that...
He wasn't doing anything bad right then.
And so he, like, was really, like, the gray... He was kind of meant to show the gray line between if we act against him, then it would be crossing that moral boundary.
Yeah. I understand, like, why they didn't kill Malcolm, but, like, just from, like, a realistic standpoint, it's just, like, who would keep this guy around?
Also, like, he was changed and loved Thea, and now, I don't know if you've seen it, but now they hate each other again.
Yeah, they hate each other again. I almost guarantee that Malcolm's going to stick around until season 5. Like, they're not going to kill him off. Mm-hmm. Partly because I think the actor, he's decently big. I think he was on Doctor Who for a while.
I've seen him before in things.
Yeah.
I don't know what, but
I think he got big on Doctor Who, and he's been around for a while. And like some of the actors too, like they don't kill off only because like they're older, so they have like more. it's not. I don't want
power.
to say like tenure, but yeah.
Yeah.
When people like know they're good, like the same like the guy who plays Detective Lance is also like he's also been around for a while. Vigilantes in my city.
Damien Dark was in Desperate Housewives.
Yeah, he was in Desperate Housewives. Yeah. But yeah, as far as Malcolm goes, I don't hate Malcolm. I just think that they need to work on like reasons for him like still being around.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
Because it's like, what is he doing here?
It is just like, what is he doing here? You're letting him, like, even if you don't want to kill him, like, yeah, they cut off his hand and he has like a robot hand now. But like, I would have put an arrow in his knees. I would have like capped him and made him like, well, you can't walk anymore. Like, I would have done something to where I knew that he could only do so much damage if he ever decided to like be like evil. Which I mean,
I feel like I could
now.
make an arrow to the knee joke, but I'm not going to.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. I'm trying to think of other characters. Detective Lance.
He annoys me personally.
Felicity's
Yeah, I was gonna say. All right, so I don't know if you know that Detective Lance is dating Felicity's mom.
This is why I stopped watching the show.
Yeah.
Man. This is
Yeah,
exactly why.
it's kind of weird. And at first, I thought it was like a jokey thing, like, oh, okay, they're hooking up, like whatever. But like, they're turning into like this serious relationship, and I don't want to spoil, but like in this latest episode, like, okay, so like Laurel's dead, and like Detective Lance, because he was working with the villain, even though it was against his will, he like lost his badge, and he's like trying to apply to get his badge back. But I don't know, it's kind of hard to explain. But pretty much, she gets like Felicity's mom gets mad at Felicity's mom gets mad at Lance for doing something that really wasn't any of her business. They make it like this serious drama thing, and I'm just like, no, like she's not a serious character at all. Like I just don't understand like that whole relationship. Yeah, he's just like yeah.
I got nothing to say.
I feel like it's just the relation to Felicity becoming a bigger character, so it's like she has this family, and her family needs to be more active in it.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and Felicity's dad is like a villain, like around, which he's all right. He's an evil hacker. That's like his thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which is, I mean, that's fine, but
it's just like their relationship is kind of weird because I feel like we're a younger audience, so we naturally have a stigma against, it's like our parents hooking up basically, so it's kind of, it's a little odd for us.
It is strange. Yeah, and I personally think, like, what I originally thought of the show, like, when season 4 started and they were going to put someone in the grave, I thought they were going to put him in the grave. Because, like, he was, like, he was working with Damien Dark, and we thought, like, since he eventually, like, betrays him, obviously, because he's a good guy and works with Oliver, so he's like, alright, well, you just betrayed, like, a gangster, so he's obviously going to kill you, but then he kills Laurel instead, and I'm just like, I mean, yeah. Not to like harp on the Laurel thing, but that was another thing I didn't necessarily like, is that like Laurel died because of something a man did. Like the villain's like, I'm gonna kill you because your father betrayed me, and it's just like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like it's a little weak, personally.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah.
Can we talk about Felicity being in the wheelchair?
Oh my god. Yeah.
It kind of upset me that it was like she can't be a full person until she can walk again.
That was a big F you to handicapped people.
That was yeah. Oh, definitely.
I work with handicapped people regularly. Okay. That's a big F you to handicapped people.
I thought they were gonna be like, okay, well, she is in a chair, but she's still powerful and she can still do things.
Yeah. She definitely like. She did not. She struggled for maybe like one episode in that chair, and then afterwards it was fine. And then she was able to walk again because of a microchip that the person who worked, a guy named Curtis who worked at her company, just put in her back, and it was like, no.
Curtis, I forgot about Curtis.
It's like, oh, just whip this up, we're good.
Curtis is alright. Yeah, pretty much. The character, like, Curtis is like fine, but it just,
like that either.
They rush her like recovery like way too much. Like, if you're gonna cripple a character, you gotta at least do it for at least half a season.
Exactly.
Like, I like, Felicity needed to just, like, struggle and, like, deal with her disability and, like, come to terms with it, because, like, that's what people do, like, in real life. And that's relatable. It's not like, oh, you're paralyzed? Oh, magic. Oh, you're better now. It's like, like, no.
It's teaching the wrong message.
Yeah. It's just, maybe the actress, maybe she was just like, I just want to walk again. Maybe she just didn't want to be paralyzed, but they rushed that way too much. Yeah. feel like it always just gets back to Laurel and Felicity.
I don't know.
More than anybody else.
Well, it's like it's one of those things that they just harped on way too much, and it's just like I feel like the show is centered on that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, but getting back to Detective Lance, I feel like now that he's not the police chief, I'm kind of wondering what are they going to do with him? Because like his whole thing is that he's like the by the books cop.
Yeah.
That they have to work around and sometimes work with to like do vigilante things. So now that he's no longer like an officer, it's like, well, is he just gonna hang out with the team? Like, I don't want to see Detective Lance be a vigilante. Like, if he puts on a mask, I'm gonna be like, no,
Yeah.
you're old. Like, no.
Well, that's like I don't know. I think my biggest grievance against him was like I've never seen a cop that like even when Oliver stopped killing, like I've never seen a cop that would be like, I can't believe you took out the bad guys. I hate you. Like, well, there no like I come from a family of cops, and no cop would ever do that. I can promise you.
He just be
Cops
like, oh,
would
well.
love a vigilante that brought people down. I'm just saying.
I can see that.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. Yeah. I'm trying to think of anything else relevant and important.
Roy.
Oh well.
Where's he been?
Well, yeah, Roy left the show in the middle of season 3, came back for one episode this season. The guy who plays him, Colton Haynes, I read a thing. Apparently he's gay, which, I mean, good for him.
Oh, I
And
didn't know that.
apparently he was, like, going through some, like, he said he was vague, like, he has, like, some mental health issues and, like, need to take a break from acting. So I think that he quit the show and they just had to write him out.
Okay, that makes
So I
total
won't
sense.
blame
I
the
didn't know that.
writers for, like, how sloppy Roy left.
Yeah.
Because it was kind of like, oh, I'm going to take the fall. I'm gone forever. And it's like, what? Because they built Roy up for 2 seasons before he got a mask.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Okay, that makes sense because I was surprised as to like why he just wasn't in it, why there was no spin-off, like what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Because
I
in
didn't know that.
the comics, his character, like, he's sometimes like Arsenal or Red Arrow, and he's like the Robin to like the Arrows, like Batman.
Yeah.
So the whole point with like building him up is like the kid. So even though he's not really a kid, he's about as old. He's in his 20s.
Yeah.
Building him up as like the younger mentor, like sidekick.
Yeah.
In comparison to like say like Dig, where Dig's more like the partner,
Mhm.
or they're mostly like equals. Roy was supposed to be like the kid like who works under him. But yeah, I guess he left the show for personal reasons, which I think it did hurt the show just because how sloppy it was.
Yeah.
But
I think you lost a good actor too, and playing a major part.
yeah,
So that took a dig at the plots and everything else.
trying to think of anybody else is relevant this season. Oh, the villain, Damien Dark. The guy's played by I think it's Neil Mick something.
Is he the guy with the baby head and the blonde hair?
The white hair.
Yeah, it's like whitish, but his head looks like it
I
belongs
don't.
on a child.
I think he's a good actor, and I. Yeah,
What are you talking about?
he's calling. Yeah, you think he has a baby head?
he has a baby head.
The guy who plays Damien Dark. That's interesting. I
I'll
mean,
check it out next time.
I think as far as him being a villain, like him having magical powers is like Eric having beef with that. That to me isn't like the big deal. I think he's a fine actor. I think the problem is that like he doesn't really have a personal connection to Oliver.
Exactly.
He's just like, I'm the evil bad guy who does bad guy things. Oliver's running for mayor. I'm gonna attack the you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I liked it better with like say like a villain like Slade, where like the villain was very personal and like
Exactly.
driven and like I'm gonna destroy this person's life.
I
Exactly.
feel like it's personal though because he's attacking his city and Oliver's become so close to the city. It's like his city now.
That's true.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, he's fine. He's not the worst villain they've had. I liked him better than Raish, only because like I don't know. I wasn't a big fan of Raish last season. He's fine to me. He has good jokes sometimes.
Yeah, I don't know.
You have to catch up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just not a huge. After all the magic stuff started happening, I was just like,
His powers are really like Matrixy.
yeah, I know.
He stops a bullet one time with like one of these, and I'm just like,
Yeah, how you fight that? How you fight that? It's just like,
yeah. I mean, yeah. I think he's fine. I think you're talking about Curtis, like sort of like Felicity's gay like coworker friend. He's fine. He's a smart guy. He's from the comics. His name's like Mr. Terrific. He's just
really?
yeah. He's from the comics. I think he's fine. He's almost like season 1. He acts like a guy version of season 1 to Felicity half the time, which I think is what they were going for. Now that Felicity's all like,
he is.
Oliver, no. I'm crying, Oliver. I don't know. Sorry.
No, but he reminds me a lot of Felicity at the beginning of the series.
Yeah, how he's just like excited to be there and like, oh my gosh, you guys are vigilantes, doing all this stuff. Yeah, Curtis is fine, and he's a season regular next.
Oh really?
Yeah, they bumped him up. I'm pretty sure he literally took Laurel's spot for season regular.
Oh god, they're gonna make him a vigilante now.
No, I mean, he's a hero in the comics, but he's not like a vigilante. He's like a tech guy.
Yeah.
He's like
He's Felicity.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
And isn't Felicity breaking away now from the group?
Not yet.
Oh god, spinoff.
In the last few episodes, she's pretty much like back with the team.
Okay.
Because like Laurel's dead, it's kind of like bring them together a little bit. I'm trying to think of any. Oh, the guy that Thea's dating, the person that she's like hanging out with, the campaign guy.
Is she back with him?
Kind of. They may or may not have killed him in the last episode, which it had.
What?
Yeah, it had like to me it had like no
Spoiler.
emotional. Yeah, to me it had like no emotional impact because like we didn't know him.
Yeah, he didn't
well
have
enough.
any character development.
And I was watching a video and someone called him like young, like you know who Tim Tebow is.
Yeah.
The guy, he kind of looks like Tim Tebow, and they call him like Child Tim Tebow or something like that.
That's good. I like that.
I'll show you a picture of. I'll put a picture up like on this video, and compare it side by side with Tim Tebow. When you see it later, you'll think it's funny. Are we?
Damien Dark's family. I don't know if there's anything to talk about that.
Yeah, I mean,
his wife. What is
his
she
wife's
doing?
the mayor.
Yeah,
the
that's
evil
what it
mayor.
is.
I mean, she's kind of like your mustache twirling villain. Like, I don't know. She's kind of like the way she just looks like an evil bitch. Like she's just like, oh, we're gonna lay waste to this city. I mean, she's like, I didn't have a problem with the mayoral plot. I thought that was actually one of the stronger things because like in the earlier seasons, you kind of had like the company as the thing that kept like Oliver like a person besides being a vigilante. And with the mayoral plot, I thought it was fine. I don't hate the villains as much. Like, I think they're fine. Like, his wife is, I'm evil. Yeah.
How does, the company that Diggle's wife worked for, what's that called?
What, Argus?
Oh,
Argus.
yeah.
How does that tie into Damien Dark's company and his vendetta?
Like, right now? Alright, well, this is from the last couple episodes. Pretty much, Argus is like a like secret government organization, and they had access to like nuclear codes and all this stuff, and they killed off Amanda Waller, which was weird.
Yeah.
And they made Diggle's wife the commander of Argus, which hey, it gives her something to do, like whatever.
Yeah.
But in like I think 2 episodes after the one you're on, pretty much Damien Dark like she has like Diggle's wife has the answers to like the nuclear codes like inside of like her arm, like hidden like, and Damien Dark, yeah, and he like uses magic powers and literally rips it out of like her wrists.
Shit.
So he gets like access to nuclear codes, and then a big thing with one episode is that oh no, he's gonna let off all these nukes and destroy not just the city but the whole world, and the way they resolve it is like fine. I don't want to go into like deep spoilers,
Even though
but
he's
like
magic and they're all not magic.
yeah, but like
makes sense to me.
Yeah, but like I mean, they're pretty much using. I think they wanted to make Diggle's wife the director of Argus so they could like more easily like bring in like that part of the story because like Argus is also a plot device. Because, like, remember they had, like, the Suicide Squad in, like, earlier seasons and that kind of stuff?
Yeah, and the island.
Yeah, and the island. And they're pretty much there to be, like, shadowy government organization. Which I mean is fine.
Yeah.
My mom kind of reminds me of Amanda Waller sometimes.
Absolutely.
Just a little bit. Are we done with characters, I think?
I think we've hit all the main ones, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, so this last part. We've kind of talked about this a lot already. What improvements would you guys want to see from the show? And Eric, specifically for you, what would they have to do? Like, what's your dream, like, Arrow, for them to bring you back for season 5?
One, I would just delete season 4 and never watch it. But
And some shows are like that.
Yeah.
Come out with an apology statement
Exactly.
for season 4.
Some shows, like, I think Supernatural has, like, 11 seasons, and there are people like, oh, yeah, it's fine, just skip seasons 6 through 9, and everything else is gold.
Well, that's what I did. I did the same thing with Daredevil. I only watched the second season with the Punisher, and it actually was a much better show. But, I know, that's terrible, but, I think, the only thing, well, not the only thing, but I think what they need to do is go back to season 1 and season 2, especially season 2. Season 2 was like my holy grail of like shows personally. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. You know, especially from a comic book nerd like me, it was like just that, I don't know. One, the character development was Slade, top notch, absolutely. Manal Bennett, fantastic.
I don't know how they're going to top that.
Oh, they can't.
They can't. Yeah, that's another thing. Is that Slade was like so good. Like, what do you do?
At least you could do something. Like bring in good actors like Manal Bennett and people like that who are actually good actors and have been on other things. Like, I just feel like I don't know. Not that I don't want to rag on that they don't bring in good actors, but most of the time they don't. Like, I don't know. I feel like that is a big factor for me. You have to have that development, and I think go back to like the gritty, like humanistic perspective of like, you know, we're fighting against people. Like, Batman is good because he fights against people that are like weaker than him, and it makes you feel, it's like kind of like a feel good. But like then when he starts getting beat up, you're like, oh my gosh, like what's gonna actually happen? But when you're fighting against someone that could literally just like kill you instantly, it's just like it doesn't make any sense to me personally.
Takes the greatness for you. Yeah.
Yeah,
it's just that's a fair statement.
And it's just like I think that those are the two biggest things for
me.
So
your dream show will be like to go back to like season 1 and 2.
Yes, absolutely.
And like superpowers and stuff, like
nix that.
Keep them all, like keep Barry on his show. Maybe have like a crossover like once a year, and like leave all that stuff over in the other city.
Well, it's just like I don't know, like yeah. I mean, like it's like I don't know. Justice League for me is like a big player because you could do like Batman and Superman can work side by side, but Batman has to be doing things that Superman can't do, and Oliver should be doing things that Barry can't do.
Yeah.
But when Barry could literally just do everything, or like Damien Dark could like, you know, use his magic powers to do whatever, throw an arrow through somebody, it's like, oh, spoiler by the way if you didn't realize that, but it's just it doesn't make it completely just makes Oliver's character null and void, and it's just, you know, there's no reason for him to be there. It's like if Batman just called up Superman's like, hey, I'm gonna retire, can you just come clean the city up? It's just like
I'm done doing this.
Yeah, I'm just done, dude. I'm done.
Can you finish this?
Yeah. I think those are the biggest things for me. I mean, you can have a couple little drama things like with the romances and stuff, but I think my biggest things would be go back to the original drawing board.
All right, so wrapping up this final segment, Eric just gave his piece about what he thinks the show should do to be different. I'll be last. Sydney, you still enjoy the show. So are there any improvements that you think either you would want to see or you think would bring more people back on that you'd want to see in season 5? And
I wanted to say one thing about Eric's comment about the show's plot and the whole superhero dynamic, how powerful Stephen Amell is, Arrow. I feel like the whole concept that they play is the underdog thing, and they've just beat that so much to the point where it's like the villains are getting more and more powerful. Yep. He's more and more the underdog, and that I can see where that gets obnoxious after a while. So maybe quit trying to play at the underdog aspect of it. I feel like that would make the show a little bit better, just knowing that it's like, okay, he's gonna defy all odds again, like Absolutely. He always does, because he's just this, even though he's human, he's just special in this sense. But yeah, I don't have a huge problem with the show right now, especially because I don't know much about the comics, or I'm not in it always really for the action. I love the drama behind it. One thing I would love to see is for Sarah to come back in the show and
Absolutely.
be in it.
And Sarah's cleavage.
Mostly her cleavage.
Yeah, so if they brought Sarah back, which I thought they were going to do, and they resurrected her, and then they put her in a spin-off.
Put her in another show.
But it's fine, whatever. Just bring her in for the next season.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big thing. And just, I don't know, give us more happy moments. I'm sure you didn't like this, but like the beginning of the season when Oliver and Felicity were together, I was like, yes, domestic, this is awesome.
Well, it was almost like a contrast because the rest of the show was so dark. Like, Felicity being there helped it a little bit.
Exactly, and that was the dynamic I liked, like light and darkness, like you were saying about the Flash versus the Arrow. That's actually something I did really enjoy in the first couple of seasons, and then they're just like, they overplayed it or they underplayed it, and it was just like...
Yeah.
Yeah, so I like seeing those moments where it's like they're working to achieve happiness, and then we never get happiness. So knowing that they can have good lives, they're like showing those good lives. I really like that.
Is that your piece?
I guess so.
All right, well, I've got a list here of things, just to go through really quick, of things that I think they should change. First of all, flashbacks. Make the flashbacks more relevant and make them more interesting early on. Like, I don't need to know why the flashbacks connect in the present day in the final, like, leg of the season. Like, there needs to be some reason why I'm invested in early.
Sure.
As far as villains go, I don't mind them upping the power scale as much as that I feel like the connection between the villain and the hero should just always be really personal. And I don't know if there's a quote, it's like, a story's only as good as the villain almost, where, like when you have a good villain, that'll almost like drive the rest of the show, or like a villain with a really like big personal connection, because now all the good guys have to get their shit together to compete with them.
Exactly. Jumping off of that, just making a quick comment, I think it's like you're only as good as your competition, and if the hero is facing somebody that's like really good competition, like Batman and Joker, like Superman versus Lex Luthor, you know what I mean? It's like you have to have a good villain to make your hero better.
Right, and we don't know much about Damien Darhk.
Exactly.
No.
I feel like
we've got 2 more episodes left,
villains,
and no backstory.
No backstory. All of his other villains we knew it was personal.
We knew what they were up to and like who they were and all that kind of stuff. Which, yeah,
we knew the reasons why they were doing the things they were doing.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Next, I have. Okay, CW, if you're watching this, which you're probably not, let's be honest. I know you guys like your romance drama. What was like Gilmore Girls from CW? Was that a CW show? I don't know. Stuff like Smallville and like Supernatural and like all these shows they've had as romance drama, like it has its place in a certain show, but like when you make it the center point, all like every episode, like Oliver and Felicity are fighting over something, it gets repetitive. Like, just please, just tone it down. Like, I promise. Like, the show's already going down in ratings. If you tone down the romance, I don't think that'll cause more people to leave. I think that's the last thing that people get mad about, except for, like, crazy Tumblr people, probably.
I mean, I love the romance. It's just me.
Yeah, it's okay. It's alright. Another thing I had was just, now that they have a lot of vigilantes, they do a lot of like the action stuff they do is more like group fighting, and a lot of the earlier season had like Oliver on solo missions. I think Oliver doesn't always have to be on solo missions, but I think a lot of the characters should have more one-on-one fights and more like scenes of them doing stuff on their own, which they've done some of it, to be fair to them. But I think that you're always going to get better fight scenes. Well, as far as like fight choreography, when it's like solo and you've got one hero to focus on fighting people, because like when you have a lot of good guys fighting a lot of bad guys, it gets a little like the action gets a little like muddled, you know. So that's just my opinion. As far as crossovers and spinoffs, just try to keep each show like its own thing. Like if you're gonna have like they do a Flash crossover every year, if you're gonna have a crossover, have it be a crossover. But after that, they can make references like, oh, what's Barry doing? But I don't need, like, all these superpowers and all these crazy things. Like, in Arrow, like, I can get that in Flash. And Legends is even crazier.
See, and I don't want to come back to me, but I just want to make a quick interjection that they've splintered so much. And, like, my personal opinion is that they started using, after Season 3, they started using Arrow as a diving board to bounce off, to go to all these other things. And it's like... I knew the ship, like, I understood the ship is sinking, but it doesn't mean you just got to start throwing out life rafts. Like, you need to try to at least bring it back rather than just making as many spin-offs as you possibly can to try to make more money, and I felt like that's what they were doing, personally.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then, like, I don't watch Flash, and I only watch Arrow, so I was really confused when they had, like, the crossover episode, and that was kind of annoying. But, I mean...
Yeah. I mean, they're trying to build, like, a universe within the shows, so I think that... I think that they kind of... I think if they make it so you can watch each show on its own and enjoy for what it is, it's fine. And make it clear when something's, like, a crossover. Like, I feel like the crossover episodes honestly could be, like, skippable if you didn't want to watch them. I feel like that's almost like... It's almost like, you know, the term is, like, fan service. Like, the people going to watch the crossovers are the people like me who just literally watch everything. But if you don't watch other shows, you're probably not going to appreciate it as much. And just for the record, Flash right now is a better show than Arrow. Like, much better.
You think so?
Yeah, it's much better. Like, season 2 is still, like, on a high note.
But you got season 1, season 2 compared to Flash. I mean, come on, that puts the hammer down on Flash.
Dude, I still enjoy
You
Flash.
can't beat it.
I like Flash. It's just, I don't know. Flash just gets me. And Legends is fine. Yeah, Eric's a hater.
Legends just seems so random.
Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, Legends is kind of like, this is off topic from Arrow now, but like shows like people who watch stuff like Doctor Who and like sci-fi stuff, Legends has its own like taste where either you're gonna be like, oh fuck yeah, time travel, this is awesome, or you're gonna be like, this is weird, I don't like it. Like,
I feel like
there's certain people gonna like Legends and certain people won't.
I feel like I could like smoke a pound of weed and still not understand Legends, but
I don't know. It's fun. Sarah's better. I think Sarah's better on Legends than she was on Arrow. Just because I don't know
she has more room. She has more character development.
She doesn't have to like.
She has more power.
Oh, she definitely does. Yeah, Legends a good show.
but less cleavage.
Yeah,
Maybe that's why she can move better. She's got less going on.
Well, she said that she doesn't wear a mask anymore either, so it's easy. I think it's easier for her to like fight.
Yeah.
Because I've heard like from the actor that the masks you have to wear are like terrible. I wonder how hot you get like running around in like leather and all that stuff. That's got to be hell.
Who cleans the leather after? Better question.
What do they smell like? Yeah. I think I saw like an Instagram post from like the guy who plays like Flash, and the Flash he wears like a full like leather like bodysuit, and there's literally a person that like has to like give him water and like spray him so he doesn't smell that bad.
That's gross.
Because he's literally
really
like
gross.
Filming outside in like leather all day.
Which is like, why would superheroes have leather costumes? Because of that reason.
Yeah. I feel like I don't know.
Unrealistic.
I find that funny. But yeah, that's my closing statement as far as Arrow goes. Any final comments or concerns? I think my roommate's outside. I locked him out, so should probably let him in pretty soon.
He makes a lot of noise.
Yeah, he does.
I think just my biggest thing is go back to the drawing board and stay original. That's about it.
I'm just excited to see what next season will bring with the whole island backstory.
And it being the last year.
Because they set it up for 5 years of him on the island. And so it's like, what do they have in store for us now? What did they plan?
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
Yeah. I can definitely agree with that. Yeah, my last one is just remember, like, season 2 and, like, kind of what made the show, like, good. And just... The spinoffs are good. Just keep them on their own shows. Because they're all, the different shows are for different people.
Exactly.
Like, Arrow is like your dark, gritty crime drama. Flash is like your superhero, Monster of the Week, family show. And Legends is just like a comic book nerd's, like, wet dream, just...
Mixed with dropping acid.
They probably all do drugs, to be honest. Everyone besides Steve, honestly, who works in the shows, they all probably do insane amounts of drugs.
You don't think Steve does too?
He's got a family and a little kid. He has a daughter that's like what, 2?
I don't know.
Well, I feel like the older actors, well, at least like with Steve, like he has a family. Like you gotta cut that stuff out.
Yeah.
When you get older.
Just to a certain extent.
Hopefully.
If I was rich, I'd probably do the same thing.
Dude, just do coke on the yacht and just pass out. You don't even know what day it is.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so this has been our Arrow discussion. I'm Chris Davis again.
I'm Sydney.
I'm Eric.
And we're you guys don't like want to give out like your Twitter handles or anything, do you?
We can put
Okay.
in the comments. That's fun.
Okay, yeah. Sydney, what's your Twitter handle?
At Sid Lawson.
It's gonna show up on the bottom, somewhere around there.
I don't know mine, but it'll be on there.
Yeah.
I don't even remember.
Who are you?
I know, right?
Something like that. All right.